Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to start a new What If. It is going to be called What If Deku had, um, well, actually, I didn't really decide on the name yet, but I'm going to explain basically what it is and find a name later. Basically, Deku is going to have um, two types of energy inside of him. One is Glorb energy and second one is turbo energy. Both of those energy comes from the show OKKO Let's Be Heroes. Glorb energy is what basically makes every character be well cartoonish. Um Deku is going to have that constantly with him. So basically he's going to be able to act like a cartoon character basically. So literally like in cartoon sometime when something impressive happens their eyes go out of their socket basically really freaking out because of how cool it is and stuff like that. He's basically going to be able to do that as well as taking a lot less damage from anything and basically having the capacity to do a lot of things like in OKKO. Um, some people are capable of using it to send energy blasts. Some are capable of using it to basically create different moves that makes energy and stuff like that. I'm basically going to give him a lot of abilities that come from that, as well as having a special ability that basically allows him to copy any move that basically use energy or well just need to see a move once to basically be able to use it. Which this is the natural power of KO, the main protagonist of the cartoon. Basically, I'm basically giving him his ability for that. The second type of energy, which is called turbo energy, can basically make a character in that show go turbo, which the way it is used by most character, if we don't look at KO, they need another source of energy like a glorb, which is basically just a ball of pure energy, and basically force it to be changed a bit. It powers you for a little while when you do it that way. If you do it the second way, which KO can use, or Professor Venomous, which is KO's father, um, well, Venomous basically creates that energy naturally in his body. KO can do the same, but for him it was basically locked up behind all of his anger and stuff like that. Which basically when he actually lets his anger out, a second personality takes over, which is called TKO, because all of the turbo energy is basically just being released. I'm not going to give him the second personality, but I'm going to give him both of those. So, naturally, having through his body glorb energy, and when he gets angry, later he's going to be able to control it, but for now, when he gets angry, it goes turbo energy, which he basically just become kind of like a bit angrier and doesn't really think about what he's doing with his attack. He basically just attack without thinking. Just basically just that. So the way he's going to get that is basically that he's born with it, the power to create energy in his body, glorb energy, as well as the power that KO has to absorb energy as well. The problem is that he can only absorb glorb energy and turbo energy, so nobody else has that in this world. So basically, that ability is useless. It's not even going to be used in the series. Well, in the what if. But yeah, so he is born with a lot of energy, and whatever he does seems a bit cartoonish. At some point, he even gets, by accident, Inko drops him. When he fell on the floor, he basically bounced up like a cartoon character. It still hurt him, but not as much. They went to the doctor, they saw that he was just fine, actually. But that the energy inside of him was kind of going a bit berserk while he was crying. The way they see this is from someone that's able to see life force, let's say. Well, energy in general, because we know that there are quirks that basically allows you to steal that, making people completely out of energy. This person is basically able to see it. And he says that when he's not crying or angry or stuff like that, the energy he has around him is extremely strong and extreme and practically purely white. Compared to people normally who has it about yellowish when they're normal, and people that are evil have it more like reddish. When he is angry, his energy is purple to black, kind of in the between of that, which is, the the doctor basically says that it's probably because his quirk that allows him to control energy as well as making his body different probably just kind of moves around more and when he's angry, and that's basically it. When in reality, it's because when he gets angry, turbo energy is released from his body, making him a lot stronger, but making him out of control. So he grows up, he starts going to preschool, he meets Bakugo. Um, he, um, yeah, Deku is never going to get the name Deku, um, but I'm still going to call him that. He he is stronger than normal kids since KO did train a lot, but he was mostly trying to control his own energy to be able to use special moves. Deku, in contrast, trying to actually be able to be stronger because, and as well meditated a bit. Like, he was always a bit angry and going on small rampage and stuff like that. So Inko decided to bring him to a place where it was basically meditation to help him control his energy and as well control his emotions. Over time, Bakugo got his quirk, him and Deku became friends. Bakugo tried multiple times to see who was stronger between him and Deku was always winning, since because of the energy inside of him, Explosion almost do nothing for some reason. Burning, freezing, it basically seems to harm his body and then he can just shake it off. Which basically makes Bakugo think, okay, I'm not beating him like that. So Bakugo tried to, well, basically trained his quirk and his strength during his childhood and adolescence. Over time, during the school years, all the way up until he is 13, sometime he went angry, and during those time, his hair went wild. He had an aura around him that people could actually see this time that was purple, and his power was increased mm, by a huge amount. He was also able to fly during that. Well, the first time they actually saw he could fly, thanks to that, he was about 6, as well as seeing that he could throw energy blast and stuff like that. So he started training to actually be able to control those things in particular. First thing he was able to control was actually the energy blasts. For the flight ability, he for some reason he never got it was able to actually control it that well. He is able to hover a bit or slow down his descent, but he's not able to fly completely. His strength and basically the resistance of his body are about the strength I would give at the start of the anime, the morning where the teachers ask where people wants to go and then say Bakugo and Midoriya to UA. If I go for that day, kind of strength, he's about the strength of the hero that we see lived, well, in the morning event when Mount Lady and uh, Kamui Wood, if I remember correctly, stopped the villain. We saw underground 3 other heroes, one that was extremely strong, one that controlled water, and another one, I don't remember what he was like. Well, he basically has the same strength as the one that is strong. For the amount of resistance that he has in his body, basically imagine Kirishima when while in the sports festival, and that's basically the strength of his body naturally. Compared to Kirishima, he does get hurt and stuff like that, but his body can basically stretch a bit since cartoon logic applied to him. Literally, like, if he walks off and he's over like a hole or something, he's going to be able to walk over it without problem unless he looks down, which happened multiple times and people find him hilarious because of that. Um, a nickname that he was given basically was Turbo, just because they decided to actually name his normal energy life energy or key, even though it's not the right name because it's globe energy, which they don't know since it actually doesn't even exist in their world except for Deku. But when he goes turbo, they basically call it turbo simply because it actually boosts his power, like when you activate like well anything in video game that you call turbo, like it actually augment his power, speed, and everything. It just makes him lose control. So When Deku leaves to go back home, he does pass by the tunnel, let's say because his mother called him and told him to go get something in a store while coming back, which is by that way, so he passed by that. Um, the sludge villain attacked him, but in contrast, Deku basically just sent an energy blast through him, which did harm the sludge villain, and then kind of jumped back and started hovering in the air, while the sludge villain was kind of like trying to get back together. Then All Might arrived, punched him to oblivion, saw Deku and asked him what his quirk was, which Deku said, my first quirk is, um, let's say, well, let's just say energy, and his second one is called Turbo, which All Might ask him what they do, which Izuku basically explained that the first one, energy, basically makes him a bit like a cartoon character, kind of, as well as allowing him to shake off a lot of normal damage, as well as having the capacity to control his body's energy and throw it and stuff like that. His second one, which is called Turbo, can actually boost all of his capacity by a huge amount, but kind of makes him lose control. He doesn't know if he can control it. He still stays the same person, just becomes a lot more impulsive, which All Might tells him that if he is still in control, he should be able to control it. Then All Might basically realizes he's almost out of time and leaves without thinking more of Deku. Um, Deku will not have one for all. Actually, someone else in class will have it. I'm not saying for now. You're going to see later. So Bakugo isn't attacked, even though he would have decimated the Slaughter Island, probably killing him, because his explosions are basically almost 3 times what he is able to do, right? And in that moment in the anime, because he actually trained it a lot to try and beat Deku, as well as training his strength a lot, since he basically is trying to catch up to Deku, which basically has super strength, um, naturally overpowered, um, well, body capacities. Like, his stamina is through the roof, literally. He could run for a day and probably still could keep going. Um, like I said, he has an extreme resistance to pain and damage, and he is a lot more confident. The only moment he is actually scared or stressed out is a moment where he could actually, without wanting to, activate his turbo energy. Because he can kind of activate it at will. The problem is that he does lose control. Um, so yeah, and kind of at will is basically that if he actually needs it truly, like someone is in danger or something like that, he is going to go turbo, kind of like, okay, I need to use it now. And it kind of activates after a small amount of time. Most of the time, about a second. So, yeah. after that interaction, and All Might telling him that if he trains it well, he can, he basically decides that, okay, yeah, I'm going to train a lot harder than I ever did. Which is something big since he was already training to an extent that basically he does his homeworks while at school, so at home he doesn't have to do them and basically trains all the rest of the time, eats, goes back to training, then sleeps a while, then wakes up about 3 hours before he needs to go to school, train again, wash, leave, and continuing like that. Bakugo only basically goes back to his house, does his homework, train, eat, and train again before going to sleep, and then coming back to school. Training a lot less than Deku during those times, but still training. So, Deku during that time decides to look for a place where he could try and really go all out with his power, which Bakugo decides to do the same. Both of them arrive to a beach. Basically dug up a beach, and both of them decides to go there starting in the weekend. Both of them arrive there at the same time when they decides to go, and decides to both to basically separate the beach in three different areas. One, well, first, one part where Deku goes, a second part where Bakugo goes, and then the middle one where basically the first one to go get there basically can start faster. And basically they made exactly the same amount of space for each. The reason I'm placing it like that is because after the first day, they haven't done a lot. They are strong, but they're still doing a lot. So on the second day, All Might arrives with someone. Drum roll. And, well, basically, they arrived. Well, he arrived with Momo. If you don't like that I'm giving it to her, well, sucks for you. That's who I decided to give it to. So, basically, All Might sees both sees Deku and someone else, and decides to ask, young ones, come here, please. Which both of them kind of oblige. Izuku doesn't remember the guy. Bakugo never met All Might, and All Might asks both of them, "What are you doing?" Which both of them says, "We're training. We're going to UA, and we decided to come here." We decided to separate the beach in three to see who could finish faster our own parts, and then start doing this one at the same time. Then ask what they wanted, and All Might said, "I was actually coming here to train this young one. Young Yayu Rosie. Um, I was going to make her clean the beach, actually." Which both Izuku and Bakugo, with Bakugo not being as he is in the anime, he still is angry a lot and kind of beats on others, but a lot less. Now, when someone has a dream that is impossible even if they trained, he pushes them down, but that's the only moment he does it, really. Well, when he sees it impossible, he is optimistic and at least tries to think of the possibility, but yeah. So All Might ask them if she can train with them, doing the part that they decided to keep to see who was finishing faster, which they both accepted, but asked who he was, which All Might said to them, "My name is." Wait, his name was Yagi. Be right back. I really need to check that. I don't know why I forgot. Okay, yeah, so his name is Toshinori. He basically presents himself. Then Momo presents herself. Then both Bakugo and Izuku presents themselves and explains their quirk. All Might says that, well, basically doesn't say his quirk, but Momo explained hers, creation, and that and then All Might tells them that she actually needs to train her strength because she also wants to go to UA. So all three of them decide to kind of have a small rivalry, but um, Bakugo and Deku told her that they were going to finish first. That's going to be a certainty. Which she tried to argue, and then Izuku basically went to a fridge and basically just kind of lifted up with small difficulty, like practically none actually. Then basically placed it underground and started crushing it, and said, "I'm finishing first." With Bakugo then exploding a good part of the things, well, exploding them in a way that basically destroys them fully, and says, "No, I'm finishing first." With Momo basically realizing, "Yeah, okay, I'm out of the league." So they basically train like that for about, well, Bakugo and Deku finish their part of the beach in about 3 weeks each. Momo takes a lot longer, but both Bakugo and Deku basically All Might tells them, "I have an idea for you two. Why don't you try and train against each other, and try to always go beyond what you're normally capable of?" Which Bakugo and Deku are fully okay with this. Fighting each other is basically like daily life, actually, almost every day at school. They basically fight at least once every week, like every week about once or twice. In the weekend, they fight at least once if they are able to meet, and blah blah blah. So for them, training like that won't really be a problem. So Yara Momo basically continued um, cleaning her part of the beach, and sometime was taking break and saw how they were fighting. Bakugo being able to fly, since he basically tried to copy Deku, who could do it. Deku trying to fly, sometime going turbo and base, well, like sometime both of them weren't fighting and basically training with Bakugo his explosions and Deku sending energy blast. And a lot of times what Deku would do is throw blast, throw normal blast, basically his fist, engulfing them in energy and punching, sending the fist. Doing that 10 times, then forcing a bit of turbo energy out and throwing that one, which everyone saw that it was a lot stronger. Basically, Bakugo and Deku were doing it for the beach. Not for the beach, but in the water. And Bakugo was basically making big waves and a lot of water evaporating while Izuku was making a lot of waves and his energy blast exploding in the distance, making bigger ones coming back that were basically just normal waves arriving to the beach. With Momo thinking, okay, yeah, I will need one for all to be able to go against those two. So when she finally cleaned her part of the beach, which naturally she was already stronger than Deku before he started training, which does make her already a, in front of him. So it took her about 2 months to clean like a third of what Deku had to clean. Then All Might wanted her to just start training with Deku and Bakugo, which he told them, limit yourself, don't kill her. So Deku decides to go first against her and tried for the first thing to do something which he almost never does, which is actually try to just let the person in front of him punch him constantly. Basically telling Yarurozu to create anything she wants and try to harm him with them since Spike does harm him, but not completely. Swords, for some reason, don't even leave a slash on him. Like a knife, he cuts himself, it does hurt, but there's nothing. The full extent of this is basically something that should cut him in half. Basically harms him, but he doesn't have any marks of it. He still feels the entire pain, though. He tells her that, and All Might is really impressed, and both of them, well, both Deku and Momo, starts fighting. Momo creating different items to try and harm him. Grenade, flash grenade, then going next to him and trying to use hammers or stuff like that. After a bit, Deku decides that he wants to her he wants her to try something. If she's going to try and punch, since he saw her train like that, he told her try chopping up wood. For anyone who doesn't know, this might sound crazy, but it actually can help a lot. I don't know the science behind it, but training naturally, like doing normal things, like let's say building, hitting with a hammer, um, cutting wood, basically augments your muscle a lot more, as well as chopping wood for some reason also increase your speed at which you can send your arm. I don't know why. This is a real thing, I should say. Actually, a boxer that was basically feared by anyone. Literally, one punch from the guy, if it actually touched you without you blocking, will knock you out. Like, the people that were fighting him were blocking for a while, then their arm were basically, they heard it so much that they decided, okay, yeah, I can do this, and let that the guy punch them, and they were out. So chopping wood actually helps a lot. So he tells her to do that as much as possible, as well as train in other ways like shoveling, like digging um, at the beach, basically just digging normally, chopping wood like anywhere practically if she can, and stuff like that that are naturally that you naturally would do if you live mm, outside, basically digging to create like places so that you have plants and stuff, chopping wood for firewood or to build yourself a house and stuff like that, basically. He also tells her to swim a lot, which she can do at the beach. So, for, well, now it's basically 9 months after the start of the anime, so about a month before UA, and her strength has increased a lot. She is, well, firstly, Deku, I should say, also increases strength by doing kind of those things, but normally more normal training for someone, and trains so much that his body and strength basically a normal punch without putting energy around it can send shockwave. Like if he punches the ground, you will sense a shockwave coming from it. As well as if he punches the air, it will make a wind blast, like All Might can do. Not as strong. He's around like 10% of All Might's strength, which is humongous when you think about it. That is a Delaware smash. So, if All Might and Deku both punch at the same time with All Might using a Delaware smash, the strength would even out. Which even All Might was seeing at this point. Bakugo is at a superhuman strength, as if it was his quirk now. Because basically he was training with Deku and doing the same training that he told Momo to do, as well as doing a lot more training on his own. He is about what Deku was the last time I told about something, which basically makes him strong enough to basically fight against the hero that has a strength quirk that I talked about at the start of the end. Well, that Deku saw at the start of the anime. Yaoyorozu, she can use about 5% without breaking her bones. She got it 1 month in advance compared to Deku, so they trained for a while. Deku explained how he uses his power, which is basically plays the energy around you and controls the amount. Which she basically learned to do about 2 days before the entrance exam. She already has one for all, since she got it a month in advance compared to Deku. She can use 5% fine. She can go to 8% if it is absolutely needed. It basically just kind of sting a bit. So she is pretty strong. So at this is basically parts. You know what? I'm just going to do the entrance exam. After that, I'm going to end it. So, 2 days later, they go for the entrance exam. Momo does the same thing as she did in the anime, so we won't see her for that. She did actually study a lot because Deku and Bakugo told her to do that. She was already intelligent, and I think she got and we don't know what her score was. If it wasn't a 100%, I'm basically making it so that she had a higher score. Because I think the only people in Class 1A that were able to pass over her in tests were Bakugo and Izuku. because those two are freaking nerds that do straight A's on anything. I think, like I said. So for Bakugo and Izuku, they arrive at school and they have a lot of muscle compared to the anime counterpart because Bakugo is a lot stronger. Basically, has the same strength as a hero right now that can lift little steel beams. So that says a lot about Bakugo, except that compared to the hero, Bakugo needs to put a lot of strength in it. Actually, it's the limit of his strength doing that. He doesn't have the exact same strength as the hero. That would be way too crazy. But yeah, he can lift a steel beam if he puts all of his strength in it. So around 8% of one for all. Since we know Deku can do that later at 8%. So he has the exact same strength. He has the same control as what Momo would have. But he doesn't have one for all, so he is weaker. For the written exam, part of the exam, it basically happens the same. Second part, um, when President Might is talking, Deku doesn't mutter, so Ida doesn't bug him. Um, Ida does say about the zero pointer, that gets explained. Then they go for the, well, in the cities. Izuku doesn't know Raka, so he doesn't do anything, but he is ready to run. And his speed. I'm going to say this for the first time about his speed. Just when he was 6, the moment he saw that he was able to fly, without flying, just running actually, normally, his speed was pretty fast. At this point, he can make sonic booms by running. And if he is able to fly, he basically goes a lot faster. So, yeah, Deku can run at the speed of sound. KO couldn't do that, but at the same time, KO was 10 and actually never had trained his actual strengths a lot more compared to what Deku did. Deku was basically just pushing it to the limit and beyond, going plus ultra, while KO was basically most of the time just doing anything he wanted, training a bit with his mother from time to time, and meditating from time to time. Which means he didn't get that much training, but was still already extremely fast. Compared to Deku, who basically did that all his life. So a sonic boom is impressive, but it is explained. So when it starts, Ita starts running, and right next to him is Deku. They're going at the same speed, and then they both start destroying robots, with Ida basically thinking, what the hell? He must have a speed quirk or something. Until he sees Deku basically just punch the robot as if they were butter or something like that. While Ida does kick them to destroy them, he goes for the parts that are actually metal. Well, that are basically thinner. While Deku just punch no matter where he wants. He throws energy blast, energy kicks, and stuff like that. As well as after looking at multiple heroes and what they do. Yes, he does use energy, like Nejire, or Netero. The spiral girl that's in the big tree. If he sees her using her quirk, he's going to be able to use it, since he just needs to see how it works to be able to use it, as if his brain basically tells him, okay, that works like that, do it. Which is something I really liked about TKO. Well, OKKO, I mean. Since at some point in a short episode, he learns about a move that is basically a slide kick, and he goes around the world with it. Basically, his mother showed him once, and he uses it as if it was perfectly normal for him, which is really funny. So, yeah, he's going to learn that later. Okay, like I was saying, he basically destroyed robots left and right, trying to help sometime when people were in danger, mostly staying at a distance when doing it, but still doing that. He saved about, well, helped about 5 people, so a bit of points from that. He destroyed for about 80 points in robots, because he does try to destroy them, but doesn't really actually do a lot. He basically just ran to be the first to get there, and that was it. Now he's basically just looking around at what other people can do until the 0 point arrives and Ochako asks for help. The first thing he thinks is, she's in danger. I need to go fast. Goes straight for her at the max speed that he can, which basically makes a sonic boom, breaking a lot of windows. Basically takes the rubble off, and basically saying that the robot's too close and that if he goes back at the same speed, she's probably going to die since she doesn't has his energy. So he decides to destroy it and goes turbo. When he uses all of the energy he decided to put in it, the robot was basically on top of them and he blew up about half of it. Like, half of it was completely gone. So he got a lot of points for saving Rocca. Then he started running with her in his arm towards um, Recovery Girl, granting him a bit more points. And in the end, Ochako told him thank you. And this is where I'm going to leave it. If you tell me that Deku is way too strong, he basically has the capacity of a cartoon character. And I'm not saying, oh, he has his power. I'm saying he is a cartoon character at this point. His body can stretch a bit, like a cartoon can. A lot of different types of damage that normally kill people, like fire or explosions, don't actually harm him that much. Um, he can use energy and fly. Hover for now, but yeah. So he is going to be a lot stronger over time in this series. But starting now, he's going to train a lot less. He basically trained for 10 months straight, basically pulling energy out of his ass. Like, I don't have anything left, but I'm still pushing myself, which can kill me, but I don't care. So, hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. Um, I'm going to start another What If later today. Well, around midnight, I'm going to start recording it. So, yeah, I'm going to leave my Discord in the comment section. So, if you want to join, just join. It's always fun to have more people. Um, if you have any what if ideas, you can tell me there. So yeah, hope you liked it. Not so out.